Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're glad to have you listening with us. Today's topic is about God's tender, faithful, attentive love. We'll return with the devotional after a brief message from our sponsors. God's Love Unseen, written and read by Jennifer Slattery. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, "Everyone brings out the choice wine first, and then the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best till now." John chapter 2, verses 7 through 10. The purest acts of love are often those that come unnoticed. The parent who wakes in the middle of the night to check on a sick, sleeping child. The mom and dad who endure without complaint decades of stress and fatigue to provide for their family. The pastor who faithfully prays for his congregation each time he writes a sermon, hears of a need, or delivers a message. In such instances, these people aren't selfishly motivated. They simply want to bless the person they've silently chosen to serve. When I reflect upon the miracle performed in John chapter 2 and its cultural context, I'm awed thinking of all the times God tenderly loves me, of which I'm unaware. Scripture tells us Jesus and his disciples attended a wedding where the host ran out of wine. In the West, where many of us live, this might seem little more than a faux pas, especially considering such ceremonies often lasted for a week. If you've ever planned a formal event, you can likely imagine the expense involved in funding such a party. Therefore, one might expect food and drink to eventually run out. In the ancient world, however, such lack broke the rules of hospitality and made a statement on one's socioeconomic standing. First, wine symbolized divine blessing and joy. Therefore, people would have perceived its absence as the couple admitting they weren't happy. Worse, according to the late Bible scholar Merrill C. Tenney, quote, "To fail in providing adequately for the guests would involve social disgrace." In the closely knit communities of Jesus' day, such an error would never be forgotten and would haunt the newly married couple all their lives, end quote. Jesus could have ignored this need or even chastised those involved for placing such emphasis on material things and outward appearances. But that wasn't how he responded. Instead, as John chapter 2 states, Jesus provided not just wine, but apparently high-quality wine. Jesus turned a potentially shameful situation into one that brought honor. But that's not what most struck me regarding this account. When I read John chapter 2, it appears that only the servants who filled the jugs with water knew of God's supernatural provision. In fact, I wonder if the bride and groom even realized they'd run out of wine. In most weddings I've attended, the couple remains occupied with one another and their guests, while their parents, the bridal party, or an event coordinator attend to everything else. Intersecting life and faith. Contemplate for a moment the possibility that Jesus provided for this couple without them ever becoming aware of their need, let alone how he met it. Granted, that's speculation on my part, yet it's consistent with God's character. He constantly lavishes his grace upon us in obvious praise-evoking ways that deepen our trust in him, but he also provides for us in ways we might never see, caring for us like a parent does their infant child. Imagine our delight when we actively watch for signs of his tender love, envisioning him drawing us closer in his fatherly embrace. And consider our sense of security and peace if we also remind ourselves of his character to faithfully attend to us, even when we're unaware.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.